series that I posted. If you have any questions about meditation, maybe you're getting started, maybe this is something that you want to improve upon. Been having a lot of people ask me questions about it. Hey, what's up? Appreciate all the hearts. A lot of people have been asking about it because I think there's a large amount of people want to get greater control over their life. And people are realizing that money alone and accumulation of things does not necessarily equate happiness. Happiness is not the result of acquiring things. Happiness is about fulfillment, feeling emotionally stable and emotionally grateful and joyful about your life. That's what brings you the feeling that many of us chase when we are going through life. You know, you graduate from school, you get a job, some career, and your focus immediately becomes, well, I want to travel, I want a house, cars, these things. I want to be popular, seeking attention on social media, all of these things. None of them will bring you the joy that you're really looking for in regards to a fulfilled life. Well, meditation is one way to get that void that you're feeling completely filled up, because it involves taking an objective look at yourself. And it's one of the most important things that you can do for yourself. Let's see here. We got a lot of people jumped in. How's it going? Lachelle, Kenny, John, Divine. I'm doing well. I appreciate the badges. Thank you. Okay, I see here. I did use a technique like removing the boundaries. Yes. Removing the boundaries is critical. You know, it's very easy in life to confuse the idea that life is placing constraints on you. But the truth is, the only constraints that you have on yourself are the constraints that you acknowledge yourself as a constraint. Beyond that, a constraint is really something that can very easily be removed mentally. Once you remove things mentally, they're gone. It's no different than cleaning up your room or taking a shower. You can remove these things. Like, we're unlimited beings, and the only boundaries and limitations that we have are the ones that we impose on ourselves. And the minute you realize that, then those boundaries begin to blur a little bit. In a post that I shared today on managing your time and things of that nature, I talked about really managing time is about managing your priorities, because we all only get 24 hours in a day. Well, that same equation applies to removing boundaries and realizing that the only boundaries that you have are yourself, like the ones that you place on yourself, what you truly believe and consistently. And once you realize that those boundaries are there because you placed them there, or you've accepted what someone else told you was a boundary, you can easily change that program. Now, I say easily because it is an easy move. The difficult part is our habitual frame of mind, your default character. And because of that default programming that we all run inside of us, we create what appears to be a permanent fixture, but nothing is permanent. Life is always moving. It's not static at all. It's always moving. Things that you see that appear to not be moving is just because our eyes aren't tuned in such a way where we can see the molecules and the particles just moving. But things are always moving. Life is always changing. And the same thing goes in our mind. What we believe to be boundaries are really safety zones that we created in our mind to help us identify what's coming next. As humans, we love safety. We want life to improve, but we don't want to go through the transition of changing and allowing life to shift, because it creates nuance. These things that I can't anticipate this, or I don't know what's coming next, but not knowing what comes next is part of the natural suspense of life. You shouldn't know everything that comes next. Not knowing allows you to be surprised. It allows life to feel fresh. It's rejuvenating. It's also part of the reason why we must take naps and go to sleep at night. When you go to sleep and you allow yourself to kind of unplug from the world, when you wake up in the morning, you don't automatically know what's going to happen, even though you have a routine. But that's what gives us the ability to hit the reset button, to refresh. Oh, it's a brand new day. Why is it a new day? It was simply just a span of time that went by, but that span of time that went by gives us an opportunity to mentally see the day as different, which is, once again, just another way for us to move forward and remove the mental constraints that we have on ourselves. So if something didn't work yesterday, well, today is a new day. The boundaries that you place on yourself are the same. And Divine, thank you. I appreciate it, brother. You know, all of the support that you all have been sending me and giving me, and through the Cash App and purchasing the book, and also the wonderful words of encouragement, those things allow me to keep going. Even though I work from here, I don't work simply for myself. I work for all of us. I believe that we're all here to serve one another and to help one another along our journeys. I know that seems, it might sound, oh, he's trying to be ultra positive, but it's not necessarily ultra positive. What's in it for me is when other people are doing well, we all benefit. It helps all of us. So this is why I do what I do. And this is why it matters to me. So, keep the encouragement coming. When you all send messages and ask me things, I try to respond to as many people as I possibly can. But there are a lot of messages that come in and people saying wonderful things. I appreciate all of them, because we all know validation is another way of confirming that you're having an impact, that somebody is benefiting from what you're doing, because it is very difficult. I don't care what anybody says. It's very difficult to move forward when you don't get any feedback. And you should validate yourself and know yourself, and that's one part of it. But we're not on this planet by ourselves. We're designed for connectivity. We're all here together. So that matters. All right, let's see here. It said choppy video, restart live with all data. Restore. I'll hit the restart because it says the video is choppy. Okay. All right, hopefully that works better. I don't know. I'm not an expert with going live, people, just in case you haven't noticed, but I'm looking here and got a message that said that I needed to restart it because the message was a little choppy. So hopefully we didn't lose anybody. Let's see here. Keep going. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I sure will. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. All right. Thank you for all the hearts. Keep them coming. Please keep them coming. It's my pleasure. Yes, indeed. I see here Coach Shannon White. I appreciate this knowledge. Absolutely. I appreciate you. It's my pleasure. Hey, how's it going, Delia? Yes, indeed. So while I'm here, if you have any questions, just put it right here in the chat. I'm going to answer those questions. I appreciate all the hearts. If you have questions, I try to, when I produce my content, just to give you all a little bit more information, I try to produce it in such a way that gets the most engagement, because my objective is not just to produce things that people don't listen to, or that people don't listen to. And at heart, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. You know, I'm not in the classroom anymore. I'm actually a school principal also. But it's important that when I'm producing it, I'm trying to create stuff that connects with the audience while at the same time adding as much value as possible. It's like gift wrapping, you know, when you create things and, you know, you have to design it for the person that's listening or viewing. It's all part of communication. How do you get rid of the dead roots that seem to keep showing up in our experiences? Well, that's a good one. Well, there are many ways to rid yourself of, as you call, dead roots. One way is to first simply acknowledge what you're saying here, and then begin the process of letting go of your hold on those roots. We all do this. It's very natural to do it, but we all have a way of holding on to the past where we don't want to let things go because there's something in it. So at the nature of it, it's about self-awareness and realizing, like, what is it about me that this character that you have designed, this state of mind that you have, is making you want to hold on to something, right? If you're approaching it from that level, assuming that these are things that keep coming up mentally. And if it's something where it's physical, say, for example, bad relationship, trying to break up with somebody and they keep showing up or something like that, you know, in those kinds of situations where maybe it's something physical that's popping up and it's not mental, you may need to change your environment. You know, when we're born, it's very easy to lock yourself into the area that you live and say, well, this is my home. Well, the truth is that we are all citizens of the cosmos, and we live on a certain place on a planet that's floating around in space, and we kind of lock ourselves into this one area, and some of us never venture out to see, well, where else would I like to live? And you know, sometimes changing the environment can do wonders for you, but also changing the environment mentally. If it's something that's popping up that you won't allow yourself to let go of, because remember, nothing controls you. External things cannot hold you. When you think something externally is holding you, it's because you're holding it. I give you an example. You know, I speak 2 languages, really 1, but 2-ish. Like, I speak a little bit of Spanish just because I've grown up in a lot of areas where it's mixed. There's a lot of Black people, a lot of Hispanic people. So you pick up Spanish here and there, all of those things. Could you imagine someone who does not speak the same language as you, say they're speaking Chinese or Mandarin or something like that, or any other language, and they're speaking it to you and they're smiling at you as they speak it, right? But what if the words that they were saying to you were totally negative, but they were smiling? You'd have no idea what they were saying to you. So your mind wouldn't process what they were saying to you in a negative way because you don't have a definition. You have not defined what they're saying to you. So the same way your mind projects onto the environment what it means to you, it's the same way you talk about, like when I'm saying holding on to things, it's how you hold it. You can hold on to the past in a negative way where this negative thing keeps popping up, all of that, or you have a negative mindset. So every time something happens, you interpret it as negative because you're looking for negative things. Or you can convert it. You can be an alchemist. You can take in negativity and convert it to something positive. You can admit, man, I don't like this thing, but how can I use this to my advantage? And, when you look at and process the meditation series and the leadership aspects that I place in there are so many things in life, so many situations where your ability to transform negative situations into something positive becomes the thing that allows you to transform lives. Because all around us is energy, and you can look at it two ways. Energy is positive and negative, or energy is neither positive or negative. It's just energy. But we as sentient beings have control over the energy that passes through us and the energy that comes to us. And we can choose to use that energy any way that we want. Is, you see a person and, this person is good, this person is bad. But truthfully, if we're all honest, we all know this, we all have tendencies for good and bad, right and wrong, left and right. We can all do it. We're designed that way. So it's not about if something is bad or if something is good. It's about how are you utilizing that situation? How are you converting that situation? So meditation, here's the key, right? Meditation is a way of turning inward and viewing yourself objectively, creating a little bit of distance from this body mass and the thoughts that go through this body mass so that you gain greater control. It's like, when you're wearing clothes, if you wear clothes that are very tight, very form-fitted, it's like skin tight, your movement is restricted because your clothing is too tight. But when you wear clothing that is loose, just a little bit of distance, you kind of feel the fabric against your skin, but it's not as clingy, it's not as tight. You get more movement when the clothing is looser. So meditation is a way of loosening who you are spiritually from your body so that you gain greater control over your body, greater control over your thoughts. If you realize that you are not your thoughts, then you can determine what that thought means to you. If you realize that you are not your emotions, then you can determine what your emotions mean to you. If you realize that you are not your body, that you are the soul in the body, you are the energy, you are the frequency that is inhabiting that body, then you gain greater control over your body. And thus, if you have things that are popping up in your life, roots, things that you want to stop, the stopping of it is the letting go of it. Let it pass. Let it pass. Let it go. It kind of reminds me of situations where, people in relationships, it's like coach couples, and one person has cheated on the other, but the person that they decided to stay together, and the person who cheated is constantly being harassed by the person who got cheated on. And the problem with it is that that person has chosen to stay with the person who cheated on them, but they have not let go of the activity that caused the issue. Well, that's a recipe for disaster because you have to let those things go. Not that you forget about them, but you have to let it go. And, if you don't let it go, you're going to keep reliving it like Groundhog Day. What do you use your thought streaming to cause stabilization of ultra consciousness coherence? Let me see here. Let me make sure I understand what you're asking. So, of course, your thought streaming, if I understand your question correctly, because sometimes the questions come through and I think I know where you're going with this, but if you're trying to stabilize your consciousness, your ultra consciousness and coherence, your ability to stay clear through situations, is not so much about your thought stream, because remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. So if you imagine yourself as like being the sky and the clouds are the thoughts, the clouds are pushing through the sky, pushing through you. Now, in order to stabilize your consciousness and remain focused, first of all, realize this. The mind is set up in a wonderful way, which allows us to distance ourselves from any sort of just constant staple format. Animals don't really have the ability to change as well as we do. Humans are not designed for just one route. So when you talk about stabilization of mind, it's temporary. So if your mind is temporary and you know that other thoughts are going to enter your head and pass through it, then it's just a matter of redirecting your mind constantly. What I have experienced is we get about 15 minutes of focus, of straight focus, and then somehow something happens in the environment that pulls your attention, and then you have to refocus yourself. And then you refocus, and then you refocus. One of the things that I like to do is to put anchors in place. And a wonderful way to anchor yourself, if you can't do it mentally just yet, is to have a dry erase board or a planner of some sort or a journal, and you write down notes that when you read it, you refocus in your mind, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm focusing on. Because your brain, since we're unlimited, our brain is constantly processing everything in different ways all the time and frequencies. And when energy comes to us, our body automatically says, respond to this, react to this, here's what's going on. So it's very natural for us to unstabilize ourselves. But because we're sentient beings, intelligent minds, we can refocus ourselves on the things that we want. But it's a matter of consistency. That's where consistency becomes so powerful, because if you understand that you have to refocus yourself, you can't just get up in the morning and say, I'm going to do this, and then your mind is stuck on that for the rest of the day. That's not really normal, and that's not healthy. Nobody, I don't care who they are, nobody focuses on one thing the entire day. It just won't happen unless they have a mental deficit where they can only focus on one thing. Your mind is processing millions of frequencies all the time, and you have to live means that you have to your mind becomes unfocused, and then you refocus it. Unfocused and refocus, unfocused and refocus, unfocused and refocus. And this is us right here. Every single one of us on a large level and on a quantum level are always bouncing from one to the other. What makes us intelligent is the fact that we can determine how we bounce and how we move. So if we're in control of that, all we have to do is say that is to take 100% responsibility for the entire movement. And then the thing becomes manual. Then you begin to realize that, oh, what's happening in my life is exactly what I want to have happen in my life, or what I am allowing to happen in my life, which gives you the stabilization. So you have to stable it. It's not going to automatically just stable for you. You have to stabilize it. Now, because of the quote unquote law of attraction, when you're stabling it, the forces around you support what you're trying to do. So just like, life begets life. So when you're focusing on stabilizing your mind and stabilizing your thought, ideas come to you that allow you to continue to stabilize. Like I talked about the dry erase board that you might put in front of you, or a piece of paper, something that you write down. That's you recognizing yourself and what you designed yourself to do, because you don't want to have your mind so stable that it can't think about anything else. It's like driving and I'm going to do 50 miles per hour, and you lock in, you know that it's very natural that while you're doing 50, you might have to drop to 40 or 30 or 0 if there's traffic. Or you might need to speed up if there's something behind you that might run into you, all kinds of things. We need that adjustment. Your mind should never stable to where it's locked into one speed. It's always changing. And you want that. That's very natural. It's part of being human to do so. Let's see here. Let me say what's up. So passive aggressive opportunities. What's happening? Mia, how you doing? We got let's see here. Coach White, I see you still with me. I appreciate all the hearts, everybody. Stevie, Mr. Normal, I appreciate you. I appreciate it. All right, all the gifts, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yes. Keep it coming, keep it coming, keep it coming. Please let as many people as you can know about me and about the message. Help me spread it. My overall objective here in sharing this information is to have an impact. We all know that we're not going to live forever. So the impact that you have on other people is really the ultimate mission, because it will outlive you. And that's what this is for me. Plus, selfishly, I kind of enjoy doing it. And I also want to be a beneficiary of the work that I'm doing by having a positive impact on others and helping people live the lives that they want. That frees us up. There's less people out there who are stressed out, who are going through life in a way that's unsatisfactory to themselves and what they were born to do. It's just some of the things that I particularly care about. Appreciate it. Also, let me say this too, I am just like everybody else out here. Someone asked me today, how come you're selling your books if you're trying to do this, if manifestation is these things? And thought it was a relevant question, but even though the person who asked, it appeared they were coming across a little bit negative, but it was a relevant question. And in the process of producing and sharing your information, it's important that you communicate in a lot of different ways. Some people consume this way, where they just want to see my videos and they want to hear and they keep going. But some people want more information and they want to engage with it. Like they need something tangible in their hands, like a book or an activity or a course. Everybody communicates with life and grows in different ways. And a good educator will understand that and make ways for other people to receive information. And that's why I produce these different things, and that's why I make it aware, not to mention all of the people who, and I'll admit, before things really picked up to the where they are now, I didn't realize that there were so many people who were going to ask for the book, who were going to ask for the course, who were going to ask, can I coach them? And, it's just amazing. So to that person, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but that's why, life is not like a magic trick where you see somebody online who's trying to do something for the world, trying to make their impact, and you start thinking too magically about the thing, and you forget we all are here. We're here for the sake of each other, helping each other. That's what makes the magic, not just what I'm saying, because it's words. So you listen, you hear. If it makes sense to you and it improves your life in some kind of way, my job is done, right? And if it doesn't, I'm not here for everybody. I'd like to believe that everybody is, they love the content and all of that, but some people may not. And that's okay. That's why it's about 8 billion people on the planet. We're all here. We all transition our minds and shift our mind to somebody out there needs to hear from you. Then when you hear someone who is not necessarily your cup of tea, or you're challenging their thing, or whatever the case may be, you don't have to take shots at that person. You can just go, oh, well, this person is not necessarily for me. The way they communicate is not for me. I need to find the person who does communicate the way I receive it. For that matter, one thing that's always in my mind is it is an unfortunate thing that here in the U.S., most of us are just like me. We speak 1 or 2 languages, but other countries, you travel the world, I go places, and they speak 4 and 5 and 6 languages. And I'm always very impressed with people who speak multiple languages, because they have a greater opportunity to communicate with people who don't speak the same language as them. And that's a wonderful thing. When you learn how to communicate with people who are different from you, your experience is enriched because of it, because those people have words and phrases that you may not have in your language, which broadens life and frees up your mind and reminds you that you're an unlimited being. So meditation becomes very different for a person who has a wide range of experiences, because they already know that 2 opposing thoughts can exist in the same head. What works in one place doesn't work in another. So how do you change? How do you adjust for the environment that you're going into? I just came back from Greece about a week or 2 ago, and it was amazing out there. But people out there live completely different from people in the U.S. So just kind of some things to think about. Recalibration every 10 minutes works for me. Yes, absolutely. Passive opportunities. Yes, indeed. And let's see where some other people got. I'm trying to look at some of the things that people are comments overriding the Fibonacci spiral effect. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Those are patterns. At the end of the day, we all are woven together in a certain pattern, a life pattern that allows us to live and experience. I ordered your book yesterday, excited. I'm excited for you too, Mina. So many people have been purchasing my book, just fantastic. My book is wonderful for beginners and people who are setting a foundation, and for advanced people, because here's the deal. Whatever you are advanced at, you're advanced in that mindset and that focus. I often will review other people's beginnings, like autobiographies. Those are fantastic because it lets me know that how other people have grown and how other people have gone and done life, which gives me an opportunity to learn from how they've done life and see what applies to me and what does not apply to me and learn from it. So when you purchase my book, that's exactly what you're doing. You're getting an idea of how did I make this process get to this point? I'm working on more books as we speak. But in the meantime, your opportunity to glean and learn from the experiences that I've had, because it's an easy read, that's number one, but it's also an honest and authentic read. I believe in what Bob Marley talked about when he said, tell the children the truth. Just tell people the truth. Tell them about what you've been through. Show them where you came from, and it'll allow them to utilize your experiences to avoid pitfalls in their own life or pull themselves out of holes. Because, life for all of us, believe it or not, we have challenging situations and we had easy situations, but we all had different walks, which caused us to view the world in a certain kind of way. So anyway, very happy with your purchase, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's see here. I've been learning Mandarin for a few years now. This is from Sunny Money. For a few years now, and it's a great thing to learn a new language. It is. Certainly is. Some comments in the live have been filtered to protect the community experience. Hey everybody, when you're leaving comments, keep in mind that we're on a platform. I'm on YouTube Live right now, and I'm also on TikTok. But remember this, when you're leaving your comments, that since the platforms are designed in a certain kind of way, when you're putting in whatever your comment is, think about what that comment will mean to the people who are watching and the people who are reading them. Because if you post things that are too extreme or too much, it's going to get filtered. And that's not necessarily me, that's just the platform. And I really want to read what you say. So just be creative in your thoughts, think about it a little bit and express yourself, because I want to hear what you think and I don't want you to get filtered out. Who are you? Seem like a sorcerer of the chaos in your videos. See, here we go right here. Chaos? No, I'm not a sorcerer and the videos are not chaotic. Some people just, I don't know. Keep this in mind. What you say is a reflection of your life and what's going on with you. So when for me, when I'm listening to people or supporting people, I generally see opportunities for lending a helping hand or transmuting something that's going on in a person's life in a way that uplifts them, makes their life a little bit better. So when you take time out to put negative comments, that's a reflection of your life and what you're going through in your head, not what's going on in my head or with other people's head. I'll tell you something, just so that you all know a little bit more about me. In one of the areas of my life, I'm actually, hey, what's up? Thank you for the heart. I'm actually a school principal of a disciplinary school where students are sent who have broken the district's code of conduct, sex, drugs, and violence, those kinds of things. And my job all day long is dealing with students and parents and sometimes educators who are upset about the situation. So for those of you who love being negative, it's not a lot of you, just every now and then, to be completely honest with you, I very seldomly get anybody who is negative, but I'm concerned about the people who are negative because those are the ones that need the most help. They're saying things, they're trying to get out out this hostility and they're trying to direct it at other people. But the problem is that they don't understand that you have to be negative to get to speak negatively. You have to embody that. So for this person here, Magic Brush, I don't know if you are or not, and I don't want to label that with you, but just be careful when you are putting comments out there, because you're feeding something that I don't think you really want to feed. You want to feed positivity. And if you have a question that might come across as negative, then just consider, if you say this, what direction are you focusing your energy on? How are you leading that body mass that you own? Because your words have power. And anyhow, just wanted to say that oftentimes there are a lot of words, things that I just will not say just because I know that I'm leading me. And keeping that energy in a certain way is very important, because energy is attracting things all the time. And I don't need negative energy. But if it comes to me, I'll convert it. I'll transform whatever that is into something positive, just like I did with his situation. Okay. I appreciate all the love. Oh my goodness, man. People are sending all these hearts and everything and all of the gifts. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or comments, please put it in there. I'm very interested in reading your comments and hearing where you're coming from. And, it's my pleasure in here to help. Let me see here. Right. Got to keep the vibes high, positive. It's a must, no matter what. That's exactly right. Let me say this too, because I don't want to pretend as if life is not, you have negative situations and positive situations, right? However, because we are sentient beings, you get to choose what kind of life you're going to have. And the challenge is, if you have a negative life, here's the problem with being negative. If you are producing negativity and sharing negativity all the time, your stress level goes up, your anxiety goes up, your frustration goes up. The people that surround you, you're pulling in people and energy that is negative towards you, that lowers your vibration and decreases your life experience. So in other words, instead of you seeing all of the wonders that life has to offer, life becomes very small and very narrow, which creates a hostile environment for you personally. And the problem with that for someone like me is there's value in you. And since there's value in you, if you create a hostile environment inside of you, nobody can benefit from who you are. Nobody. And do what you want. We all have a right to control the energy that we were born with. It's for you. It's a representation of you. But we all miss the opportunity to get to know what you had to offer if you're only offering negativity. And if you're not, and or you're trying to work yourself out, because I've encountered that too. Some people are not negative, but they don't know how to get out of that funk. It's like there's so much going on. It's just difficult for them to navigate. And for those people, meditation is wonderful. Look at my series on meditation, because even when your life appears to be going in the wrong direction, a lot of negative thought, a lot of stress, a lot of anger, frustration, all of that stuff, when you meditate, you realize that you can create distance from the negativity. And not a lot of distance, but just enough distance where you can control what you want to do with that energy now. Now that you realize that it's not you, you're choosing to focus in on a negative thought. but that's not you. That's the choice that you have. Once you create the distance, now you can utilize that for your benefit. For example, I remember at one point, I think this was about, I don't know, maybe like 20 years ago or something like that. There was this thing where people were celebrating the quote unquote haters in their life. But they were celebrating it from the standpoint of, I need more haters, because they were using the energy that comes from it and converting it to make them work harder. This person doesn't want me to succeed, so I am going to work harder to prove them wrong. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to drive myself. Those things. So that's just an example of how you can convert negative energy into something positive for yourself. You just look at it and go, okay, this person is giving me this stuff. This is what they think, right? So I'm going to turn that and use that as energy, because energy is energy, regardless of what you say. And whether it's positive or negative, you just have to anchor yourself in what you are and who you are and what you're going to do about the energy that you're receiving, both positive and negative, because the other way goes too. And this is where I talk about, and in my energy series, where I talk about energy vampires, people who, when you come around them, you can feel them just kind of pulling and draining your energy. I had this one person in my life that I worked with, and man, when this person would come around me, I would just automatically start feeling sleepy. I mean, this person was a king vampire or something like that, because the minute he started talking, he was so much negativity coming out, and he was like secretly trying to direct it towards me, because there was a level of jealousy that was occurring that I knew and he knew, but it was like the unspoken part. You ever been around somebody who's jealous of you, but you and that person knew, but you didn't say it, and that person didn't say it for reasons like if you're at work, you don't want to tell somebody that because you have to work with them, right? And since they're at work, they don't want to outright say it because that's how you lose your job, but you can feel it. So I would just feel like drained. Oh my goodness, man. I told her, I said, man, you're like I don't understand, man. When you come around, all I want to do is go to sleep after that. So I'm so tired now. You can pull all my energy. Well, it was just an interesting thing. Nonetheless, I converted the energy by challenging the person to tell me what I could do to improve. And they didn't realize what I was doing. I didn't tell them specifically what I was doing because some people just, it's the way that they operate is not going to work well. So they become a tool in your environment. So I said, I'm trying to improve. I want to better myself. What can I do to improve? And the person couldn't find anything except they did tell me, they said something like, you put an S on mine. And I was like, oh, he said, yeah, all of the people in certain areas put an S on mine, and we always say mines. And I just thought that was interesting. And at the time, to be completely honest, I guess I must have been sleeping in elementary school during that time, but I didn't realize that, yes, me and people who look like me, we put an S on mine. We say mines all the time. And because he pointed it out, I'm very intentional about when I say that word mine. I don't say mines, I say mine. Not because I don't want to say it, but I just want to make sure I'm correct with what I'm saying. But that's just a area in which I've shown you how you can be an alchemist. You can convert someone's negative energy and use it for your and other people's betterment. Because I've told that story so many times, and when I tell people, oh yeah, yes, you can take what someone else is bringing to you. They're bringing the nonsense to you, the foolishness, and you just take it and transform it and use it to better yourself. Someone is saying what you can't do. Well, use that energy. Don't get upset with it. That's the way they feel. We all have a right to our feelings, and we all have a right to how we view things. So when someone brings something to you, use it. Convert that energy. Turn it into something that allows you to do this. as opposed to locking in. Why do they feel this way? No. Don't try to figure out where they're going with this because chances are where they're going with it has zero to do with you. They don't know you well enough to really not like you. They don't. But so many times we get so bent on trying to prove people wrong that we forget that that person is going through stuff that you don't know anything about. You don't know why this person is negative. So don't try to figure that out. It's pointless. They have to get through that forest. Your job is to, when you feel that energy, because energy transference is correct, right? Is to utilize that energy that they brought to you for yourself in a way that serves you so that your life flourishes as a result of it. Don't try to figure out why they are the way they are. Guaranteed, if you look into their life, or if you were to sit and talk with them, you'd find maybe they got some parenting issues. The way that their parents parented them did not give them the kind of environment that they thought they needed, because that happens so often. Our parents are human beings. They're not perfect when they have us. So they are creating an environment to the best of their ability. But sometimes that environment doesn't really serve us, but they don't know that. And we've gotten so far away from intentional parenting. Most people, I shouldn't say this, but it's just the truth. Most people parent in the easiest way possible, in a laissez-faire kind of way. Like you have your kids and you give them a phone, or you pass them off on somebody, or you do something to where you don't have to pay attention to them. And that's a huge problem, because the most important thing that a parent can do is pay attention and engage with your kid. You don't have to be perfect to do that, but you need to be watching them. When your son or your daughter turns around to look at you, they need to see you looking and noticing them. When you do that, you create the kind of bond where they feel secure, because kids understand that you intuitively, we all understand that if a person doesn't see you, then they can't help you. If they can't see you, then they can't help you. It's like that distance grows wider. So anyway, and I'm almost done with, not almost done, I'm halfway done with my book on parenting, because there are so many parents out there who just, we're not doing the kind of work needed to produce the kind of people that will be helpful for everybody else. Counterpart to the refinement of order and great duality, forging the infinity birth by will. Okay. I hear what people are saying here. For what can we do to improve gratitude? Oh, that's a good one. One of the easiest ways to improve gratitude, or to improve anything, is to practice it. Sure, there are fancy tricks, little things you can do, things that you read, what you consume, what you listen to. Those ways improve, but nothing improves like practice. And you see this example when you look at professional sports, professional actors, professionals in any arena that function at a high level. They all practice it. So for example, with gratitude, I recommend starting with 3 times a day. When you wake up early in the day, when you get out of bed, in the afternoon, around lunchtime, and then in the evening before going to bed, simply close your eyes and think of things that you are grateful for. In the old days, elders would call it counting your blessings. Counting your blessings. What are you grateful for? You might be grateful for a life. You might be grateful for a family. You might be grateful for having a roof over your head. You might be grateful for clarity. You might be grateful for the ability to realize that you're in a situation. Because so many times we just forget. There are some people in situations that they can't get out of because they don't even realize they're in a situation. You have to realize that you're in a situation first. And then once you realize it, realize a little bit more that you can change your situation. So when you practice this level of gratefulness, where you're constantly telling yourself what you're grateful for, or reminding yourself about the things that you can be grateful for, eventually it becomes part of your routine. And once it's part of your routine, now you are developing a habit, which by default makes you a grateful person. And grateful people are wonderful to be around. They're empowering. You feel automatically energized. Grateful people add the kind of value to others that allow other people to feel empowered to go forth in life. Because nothing feels better, like with all of the things that people are saying, and the hearts that keep popping up and the gifts that people keep sending. When you all do those things, I am extremely great. I can feel the gratefulness coming from you, and it makes me grateful, which empowers me to go further and to do more. It says, man, we appreciate what you're doing. Please don't stop. And by doing that, what is this? Oh, okay, something just popped up here. By receiving the gratitude that comes from other people, is creating the energy that I need to push forward. Is letting me know that, hey, this is making an impact. So, it's almost like when you are, when you're doing social media, and I'm sure all of us have gone through this, because when you're doing it, you're trying to figure out what's the best way to get the most amount of people and reach people. You don't know that you're reaching people. So a lot of times you're kind of shooting in the dark until, but once you start getting validation, and once you start receiving messages from the environment that's giving you a clue as to this is having an impact, it allows you to do more. So being around grateful people is just one of my favorite things. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, keep going. All right. Yes, I will keep going for sure. Yes, indeed. So if you have any questions about anything, I'm doing a series right now on time management, quantum time management. And the responses they're being pretty good. And there are some people out there. The reason why I started, hey, how's it going? Looks like this is Dana Jackmaster. That's interesting. Because there are so many people out there who say they need more time. And, time is always at a crunch for them. And, for most people, we all at one point or time in our life have thought, man, I could sure use more time. I'm running out of time. I don't have enough time to get all the things done that I need. But the key to time management is to manage your priorities. Don't try to manage time. When I say don't try to manage time, I mean that the way that you manage time is by prioritizing. You make a list of all of the things that are important to you, and you do the most important things first, second, third, and fourth, and all the way down the list. Most people, when they're managing their time, they put everything in their life on that list. And what ends up happening is they get things done that don't have an impact. And because they're bringing their attention to things that don't have an impact, you end up feeling like you don't have enough time, but you've wasted time doing things that are not a priority to you. You've done them because it's easy to do. It passes, it gets you through the day, or whatever the case may be. It might be scrolling on social media. It might be having conversations with random people who don't add any value to you in any kind of way. It may be, for some people it's cleaning. I have a client who was trying to get more time in a day, but they spent a lot of time cleaning their house. They live in a nice size house. They do all their own cleaning. And my recommendation for this client was to hire someone to come in and clean so that they can get that time back. They would spend like 4 hours just cleaning. I'm like, 4 hours? That's a long time. That's a lot of time, but how valuable is that time to you? What would you do if you had 4 hours? So if you could pay someone to do the things that freed up your time, you could use your time more valuably. But a lot of people don't know that. So we all do a lot of things that we ought not be doing. Someone else should be doing it. And not that the job that we should not do isn't valuable, because sometimes it just depends. The things that we shouldn't do are the things that we could be using that time more wisely for something else. But it takes time to understand that. You get the time back and your time becomes even more valuable because you're doing high leverage activities, things that really mean something to you versus just doing it because it's a chore. Says you people better be on your knees and praying for forgiveness because justice is coming. Catfish. Come on, catfish, lighten up. Lighten up. Let me say this too, for those who are heavy in the judgment part. Do you know that the judger is you? The judger is you. When people are, judgment is coming, it's already come for you. When, for example, when people are negative, the judgment for you is that you are negative because you have to be negative to put out negativity. Just like the judgment for positivity is that you're a positive person because you have to be a positive person to put out positivity. We are all part of the larger source that represents all of us, but we all are divine beings within ourselves. So even though you may not recognize it, that what you put out is a representation of what your actual judgment is of yourself at that moment. So even for people who are heavy in the judgment category, you like going around and telling people about what's going to happen and all of this kind of stuff. Here's the misconception that many people have. There is no one way. I know that everybody, it's one way, one this, one that, one way of thinking. That's not true. It's simply not true. And life is showing you that every single day. If you look at, when I did my first conference, I had the audience put your thumb up and then look at your thumbprint and then compare your thumbprint to everybody else's thumbprint around you. You'll never find somebody else with the exact same thumbprint. That's hard evidence right there in front of your face that we are all unique. Even though we come from the same place, we're all unique, which means we have a different way of thinking about things. And because we have a different way of thinking about things, our judgment is different, our actions is different, how we see the world is different. So you don't necessarily have to worry so much about somebody else judging you. You're judging yourself on the spot. That's why being careful with the words that you say, being careful about how you judge other people, casting stones, all of these things. When you take time out and you judge someone else, you have to create a little bit of distance, be light with it, because you don't know what this person, first of all, they can't really see you. They can't really hear you. They're interpreting what they see and hear. And their interpretation makes what they see and hear themselves. Like right now, here we are on this live channeling. All of you are listening to me, or you think you're listening to me. What you're really listening to is yourself, because you're interpreting what I say to you. So it's really yourself that you're listening to. I'm making the sounds and you're determining what the sounds mean to you. I've given you an image to focus on, and you are determining what the image is that you're seeing. In your head, in your imagination, you're projecting onto the thing that I've shared with you for yourself. You're making it palatable for you, digestible for you. And we're all doing that. So when you're passing judgment on someone else, realize that you're judging yourself. When you say negative things about other people, realize you're saying negative things about yourself. When you say positive things, you're saying positive things to yourself, because that person, they may translate what you're saying to them in their own way anyway, because they can't really hear you. They hear their own interpretation of you. Now, that's not saying that we're not communicating with each other. That's not saying that we don't actually hear each other. We do, but it's both. It's you hear what I'm saying, and then you go about the business of translating it into something that you understand. So you do hear me, but you hear me in your own way. And that goes for every single person. And we all do it to one another, and there's nothing wrong about it. It just enriches. If you think about the beauty of life, the fact that we all translate life in our own way gives life the wonderful diversity that exists. The fact that there are so many different sentient beings with different interpretations of what's going on, we're enhancing what life is all about because we're seeing it through our own eyes. Even when you have kids, if you don't believe this, talk to parents, especially parents who are parents of adults. When your kids reach a certain age, 18, 19, 20, whatever the age may be, and they give you their view of life and it's so different from yours, even though they came from you. It's just a wonderful thing, but it's so important to be able to do it. It's the reason why two people can have a child and that child be so different, because we're not really, the experience is not to replicate one another, but there are so many people on the planet who only understand other people if other people think and act the way that they tell them to think and act. And that kind of, it creates a disconnect between all of us, because a lot of life, believe it or not, is acceptance, is accepting yourself. You know, you love yourself, yes, but a bigger part is first accepting, because there are things about all of us that we like and don't like. And then it's accepting other people. Things about other people that you don't necessarily like, but you have to accept it because they have a right to be here too. Just like they have to accept you. And people are we're just funny that way. You know, but it's the reason why, for example, in my meditation series, I started this off with just creating distance. It's easier to accept other people when you create a little bit of distance. Like, don't get so tight up on someone that when they move, you have to move. If you create a little bit of distance, when this can happen, you don't have to be like this. You give that person the space to be themselves, and you give yourself, that person gives you the space to be yourself. So now you can coexist, and we all coexist with one another. Anyhow, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit. Let me see. When the brain heard or reads a word it doesn't understand, it halts. It halts full interpretation to this. Yes, that's exactly what's going on. We're all interpreting each other. We have no choice but to interpret each other. It's just a fact. I know that there are a lot of people who think, oh, we need to think exactly the same way. Thinking exactly the same way is an impossibility. It can't be done, not for any consistent amount of time. Like, you might have the exact same thought in a beat, but then as the beat goes on, it gets different. for all of us because we're not occupying the same space, exact same space. We're not occupying the exact same space. Like right now, I'm sitting here. Because I'm sitting here, no one else can sit exactly in this seat that I'm sitting. Where you're sitting, no one can sit exactly the way you. So they're going to see it just a little bit different. The funny thing about life is it feels comfortable when people call things exactly the way you call it, because that's the security in it. For example, everybody practicing the exact same religion or whatever the case may be. It feels good to do that because you can anticipate what's coming next, but that's not life. That's doing the same thing. And there's a time and place for doing the same thing, but there's also a time and place for realizing that no two people are occupying the exact same space, not in this universe anyway. Now you start getting into multiverse and all that, that's different. But in this space, two people are not occupying the same space. So when you see someone and they say something to you, know that your receiving of their information is based on your interpretation of that information. And that's the best we can do. You interpret it because their experiences shape how they define reality and how they define consciousness. So you have to factor that in. I say give people the right to think the way they want to think, and there's no problem. Just learn from other people. It says right, the distance helps you not take things so personally. Absolutely. Dana Jackmaster for sure. If you're taking things, when we say take things personally, I go further a little bit, like taking it to heart, as in what someone else said absolutely must be your reality. You gotta be very careful with that, because if someone says something to you and you take it straight to heart as if it's you at that moment are giving that person the power over your emotions, over who you are. And if someone else is controlling your emotions and they're not right with themselves, it's going to ruin your day. And the hard part about it is you'll be holding on to that negative energy while they have finished with it. They often doing life and doing other things in life, and here you are stuck with the energy that you've accepted from them, because everything is, a lot of it is allowance. You're allowing this person's judgment to project upon you and imprint upon your energy vibration. And that's not wise to do, because we don't have enough information about each other. So even with me, I always tell people to sit loosely with what I'm saying to you, because you have to govern yourself. Don't allow anybody to govern you. You govern you. We learn from one another, but we're very judicious with how we apply what we get from one another, because we have to sit with the energy that we create for ourselves. And you don't want to position yourself to where you're very uncomfortable with who you are because of what someone else said to you. No, absolutely not. I don't let anybody govern me. I govern me. And you should govern you too. We should learn from one another, but don't allow someone to make decisions on how you feel. The person is supposed to learn what the word means. They don't understand and go forth, correct? Not necessarily. This one is for plain keeper, right? The question here, the person is supposed to learn what the word means. They didn't understand and then go forth, correct? The reason why I'm saying not necessarily is even the act of, say, I have a dictionary in my hand right now, and you mentioned the word to me, and I go in a dictionary, I look up what that word means. I see what the words on this page are saying, but my interpretation of what these words are saying still make it different from what someone else may read it and think it says. That's how unique we are. Our experiences are so different. The way that we view the world from person to person, even living in the same house, those people who grew up with large families can attest to this. Even if you have a twin, you say you grew up in a house of like 5 to 8 people. All of those people in there, they are alike in certain ways, but they're also very different. When you read a definition, it gets you closer to understanding what this person is saying. But even though that person understands what you're saying, they may interpret what you just said differently. So you got to make space for that. So it's kind of like when we talk to each other, when we're sharing information, what we're really looking for is a percentage of alignment. Because the only true alignment you're going to be able to get is the alignment that you have with yourself. The alignment with people around you is narrow, because you can agree with somebody on who your favorite NBA team is, but you might not agree with them on who your favorite football team is. You might not agree with them on what food is the best, but you might agree with them on what drink is the best. All of these different things, like we all are we are so much alike, but we're also very different. And it's important that we're different because it enriches the experiences. Plus, it gives us all an opportunity to address life in different ways. So partially what you're saying there, Planet Keeper, partially, but then also leave a little bit of space for, when you're talking to people, just know that they don't completely understand what you're saying, but you don't need them to completely understand. You just need them to get in the neighborhood of where you're going, and that's it, because we're all very different. Then you remove the definition in words, yes. The word is sound. Sound creates light. You are light, body. Yes. Yep. Yeah. One of the things that is very impressive is there are a lot of people out there who understand exactly what's going on. And, it's fascinating and it's comforting at the same time. Because so many of us, there are a lot of people out there who are just putting out good vibes and helping one another move along, which is fantastic. What's up, Dan? What's up? Financial technology. What's up? Hey, I want to say this too. If you are one of those people who are putting out those bots where you just like spamming people, I got hit with spam and somebody is, I don't know, it's like you get all of these messages, they're all the same, and you can tell that it's not a real person because they're promoting somebody. And, I'd ask that people, you got to be careful with that, because here's the thing. When someone promotes someone, is not necessarily who I endorse. And not that I have to endorse anybody, but just kind of keep in mind when you're reading through, I know my audience is definitely more wise than to just follow someone because they're saying something. People who put comments up and they endorse other people in my feeds and everything, I don't know who they're endorsing. I don't know what that person, I don't know. So you have to do your own work in that. If someone endorses someone and they say, oh, this person helped me, right? You do your own, because I don't know if that person is what they're coming from. In this world, there are a lot of good people out there, and there are a lot of people out there who what they're into is not what I'm into. So make sure you do your homework before you go following someone or jumping on someone else's thing that leave a comment with someone else promoting somebody else's stuff. Limited alignment with folks, but fully aligning with your purest inner self. Absolutely, that's right. That is, that is so much the key, because the only control that you really have is over yourself. But we all are attracted and not attracted to certain energies. So when you align yourself to who you are and your own authenticity comes through, now you're sharing with the rest of us who you really are, which gives us a chance to truly appreciate you. Because in a way, we all are niches, like we all are ourselves. And when you are yourself to the fullest, you open up the world, not to mention you give everybody else an opportunity to be themselves too. The trick though is when someone impresses you with who they are and what they are presenting, to not run and carbon copy them. But to, maybe there's certain things that this person does or what they're saying, and it adds value to you. So you're putting it together, putting yourself together based off of, a composite of things, but be yourself. When I speak, I'm often grateful for the people in the audience who resonate with the message that I'm saying. But I'm gonna tell you something. My mother just passed in October. She had pancreatic cancer. And I didn't quite know what I was gonna say at her funeral. I had an idea, but I didn't know how it was gonna come out because I was very emotional. And of all of the times that I've spoken in front of people, that was my most authentic time. And I can tell you that the people who attended my mother's funeral appreciated what I said. I felt more appreciated in that moment because of my vulnerability. I was being me. There was no anything else added. It was just me. And I'm saying this to you because I've seen firsthand the power of being vulnerable and being authentic with people. When you're vulnerable and authentic with people, it resonates with them. It resonates with them. So aligning yourself to yourself is just another way of being as authentic as you possibly can, and really just sharing who you are with people and allowing them to see you. Is uncomfortable to do, in truth, because many of us have a hard time with embarrassment. Like if you're vulnerable and someone laughs, you feel embarrassed because you think that there's something off about you. But that's just your own head, because they don't really see you. They see the outside of you, but you are not the outside of you. You are the inside. Your inner world is where it's at. We can't, none of us can actually see the inner world of us. Like we get feelings, we read the energy, we get a glimpse, we get a percentage of it, but we don't get the percentage as in like who you are. So when someone laughs at you, they're not laughing at you, they're laughing at the interpretation of you. But the embarrassment is what causes people to not want to be authentic in front of other people. Let's see here what people put. Even now, your vulnerability with sharing that experience is greatly appreciated. Yes, indeed. Thank you. I appreciate you for bringing that to my attention. Thank you. Besides in self and God, where can we find solace? That's a great question. So, first of all, right, whatever it is that you are going through, or what may have caused you to ask that question, my heart goes out to you. My condolences, if that's appropriate. If it's not, and it's just a pure question, here are my thoughts. besides inside itself and God, where else can you find solace? There's a lot of places where you can find it. The challenge that I have, though, is the only place that really works is inside of you. Here's why I say that. Because inside of you exists God. Like I could not sit here without the energy of the Creator in me. I would not be able to even do this video. You would not be able to receive this video. So it's all in you. And when you go looking outside of you, those are really just, what you call that? Those are really just signals reflecting back to you that which is inside of you. So you're not really looking out there. Like, for example, wherever you're sitting right now, let's say you're sitting in a room, or maybe you're sitting at some club or something like that, or some restaurant, and you're listening or watching this live. I want you to find something in the area that you're looking, where you're sitting, and look at that thing you're looking. Like right now, I'm looking at the light switch that's in my office. I'm looking at it, right? Where do you see it? Point to it. Point to where you see it. That thing that you're looking at, point it, right? Here's the challenge, the mind puzzle for you to understand. I just told you to point to where you see it, but you pointed outward, right? We don't really see outward. We see it in here. The eyes are reflecting and it's registering in our head. You see it on the inside. When you hear something, if you're listening to wherever you are, you think you're hearing it out there, yes, to a point, but the most important part of the hearing takes place inside of you. So everything is processed from the inside. And once you realize that and take it even further, here's the master level. Masters understand that all definitions and all processing occurs within. It's never outside. So you might use something on the outside of you to give you an idea of what you are doing on the inside, but the mastery level is when you realize you don't even need that. For example, right now, if I tell you to think about a car, think about your favorite car, those thoughts are coming from inside. If you think about it hard enough and long enough and you focus on it, you'll feel what that car looks like, the smell of it, what it sounds like when it's driving, the feel of it. That's all occurring. We can create those things on the inside without actually having the physical thing. Everything is created on the inside. To be honest with you, anything that you see outside of you is second creation, not first. The first creation is on the inside. The second creation is on the outside. The outside is a reflection of what occurs on the inside. It goes like this. So it's just something for you to consider. Once you get your mind wrapped around that, you begin to realize that you can create anything. Anything. Just understanding it starts here, works its way out. So let me see here. It says, why do you care? You know, I appreciate that question more than you know. Why do you care? I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to mention it again. You may have just popped in later in the conversation. Nobody asked that question, but I was addressing it because it's important for people to understand what your angles are. Like, why are you doing this? Why do you care? Right? Well, I care because we are all connected, for sure, 100% connected. And because we're connected, it's like the easiest way for me to mention this is in your house where you live. If you never clean your house, you never clean. You don't sweep the floors, you don't mop the floors, you don't clean the bathroom, you don't clean the kitchen, and your house is just a pure mess. You have to live in that mess. That's where you have to live. So for me, selfishly, I am creating the kind of world that I think I want to benefit from. So putting out content that helps people fulfill who they are, tries to give them a view of something that can make their life just a little bit better, it increases the probability of me being impacted by other people who are also trying to improve life in some way. So selfishly, we're all here for the sake of all of us. For example, an easy way is like this shirt that I have on, right? Now, I like this shirt. You might not like it, I don't know, but I like this shirt. But I did not make this shirt. Someone else designed it and made it available for me to purchase it. So I purchased the shirt. They got my money, I got the shirt. Now, if they did not produce the shirt, I would not be able to have this shirt. So they had to produce it. Now, you might argue they only produced it for money, but I say it went beyond that because look at the design. It's designed a certain kind of way. That means they had to put some thought into it, their heart. They had to consider all of the other shirts out there. How do I make this shirt look in such a way that someone will want to purchase it? So they produced it, in my opinion, for me. I saw it, I liked it, I purchased it. Do they know me? Maybe not personally, but they were certainly making it for somebody like me because it resonated with me. When I produce information and I'm sharing it with other people, I'm sharing it with the people who it resonates with in hopes that it improves their life in some kind of way. Like this shirt makes me feel good. I'm hoping my information has an impact on people's lives. I try to produce things that when you really sit back and apply it and think about it in your life and apply it to your day-to-day, your life is a little better because that's really important. You know, I read a statistic somewhere that said that something like 70% or more of people in the world, I mean, particularly in the US, are unhappy with their lives. That's a high number. And I suspect that that number is so high because there are a lot of people who are defining success in a way that has zero to do with who they are. They're not living authentically. And that goes for everybody across the spectrum. There's no dollar sign you can associate with that. There are people who have no money that are unhappy. There are people who have almost everything that are unhappy. So me, what I have a strong affinity to is creating the kind of world where we're past that part where we're living life unsuccessfully. We're not happy with our lives. So that's why it matters to me. And keep this in mind. When I am producing the kind of information that I'm producing, the content, and sharing it with other people and educating other people, I'm the first beneficiary of my acts. It serves me first, then it serves everybody else. So I know I took a long route around answering your question. I didn't want to just give a simple response because sometimes that doesn't do it justice. I produce what I produce because it helps me first. All of you all are the recipients. You're secondary in the message. Just like things that you produce, it came through you first, and then it came to me. So I'm the second beneficiary of who you are, not the first. That's why I was saying earlier to the gentleman that left the comment, I don't think it was negative because they made some additional comments that led me to believe it might have been purely just what was on their mind. But if you are someone who produces a lot of negative information, be very cautious with that because that negative information is hurting you first. Everybody else is secondary. So you may be trying to be funny or something like that or say something to pull somebody down, but you have to be underneath someone to pull them down, usually. So just be careful with the energy that you put out. You put out negativity, that's a reflection of what's going on in your life. Put out positivity, that's also a reflection of what's going on in your life. We're all putting out things, and in some cases, just not being sensitive enough to how our energy, what we put out there, is affecting us first. Being the solace through practice of just being yes. God, people, hope your light are not led. You need to look at the stars. LOL. Exactly. Agreed. Very connected, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh my God, you're right on that. Yes, indeed. Scrawny and Chubbs. What's your opinion on water? Water is, water is an interesting thing. It depends on what you're asking when you start talking about water. So I forgot exactly. I was doing some research on it. And I think it was, who was it? I can't remember this gentleman's name, but he was talking about this book on water. And when you study water, looking at it at the molecular level, you see a lot of different things occurring in water. Water is so responsive to words and what you say to it. It's just a fascinating thing. It takes on many different properties. But water is important. That's what I think. I don't really know how far to go with it until I just improve what I know about it. But I know it is very responsive to us. It's highly energetic. The frequencies you can see right in it. It has, so much value to it. It's just difficult to really understand what you're asking when you say that, because you can take water and go, it's everywhere. There's so many different things you can do with it. And it affects us. It's life-sustaining and all of that. Lots of people dawn into it. I don't get it. Do you believe a philosophy should be taught without mastering it to a certain degree? Oh, that's a very good question. I love that question right there. So the question is, this one is from Planet Keeper. Do you believe a philosophy should be taught without mastering it to a certain degree? And here's the deal, right? Let's deal first with the word taught. When you teach, you are, in essence, sharing your knowledge about something, okay? Teaching something does not mean that you are the final authority of anything. And that's a real challenge that we have today. As a matter of fact, one of the people who I follow that is really good about helping people understand this is Gary Vee. I don't know how many of you all know who he is, because I'm always surprised. I follow some people that other people don't know anything about. So I'm always like, you don't know who he is? Anyway, well, Gary Vee is this guy who, a lot of success online, a lot of followers, made a lot of noise on the content delivery, speaks about people producing content, and just fearless about telling people, man, nobody is the gatekeeper of all of this information, So when you are teaching someone else what you know, the mere act of teaching them is an act of love. You're trying to share with them your experience with certain information. So it's not about right or wrong. When I taught in the classroom, I made a intentional, concerted effort to always tell people, especially when I got to the point where people were asking me about it, like, this teaching is a funny profession. You don't teach people what to think. You teach them how to think. So even when you're a parent, because you don't know the answers, nobody does, right? Say this philosophy that you are asking about. That philosophy, you opening your mouth and saying what your thoughts are about it is your interpretation of that philosophy. So whatever you do is tainted. It is always going to be tainted. The only thing that matters is what the person who you are teaching thinks about the philosophy that you're saying. So what you say doesn't matter anyway. Let's just say that you are an expert at it. You are a grandmaster at this philosophy that you have. I guarantee you there's another grandmaster out there who thinks something completely different about the same exact philosophy that you think. No two people think the exact same things about anything. So as I tell my students, think for yourself. If you're teaching something that you're not really astute at, or you don't have a level of mastery with it, it's okay. It's okay. Not saying that you should be giving misinformation. So, because that's a whole different thing, and I don't want to confuse those two for you. If you are teaching something that you are completely confused about, you ought to reconsider. Just pause for a minute on doing that, because you giving out information that you have zero knowledge about. You should have some level of understanding of what you're saying to people and what you're telling them about. But for example, let's say, stoicism, you're talking about stoicism, being a stoic, and you're not necessarily a master at stoicism, but you know something about it. You know how to connect it to your life. Once you connect that philosophy to your life and live it out, you have experience with it. That gives you the authority to teach that thing that you experienced yourself. This is my experience with this philosophy. Here's how it worked for me. Because of how I teach, I always tell people, what does it mean for you? Never mind what it means for me. I know it works for me, but how does it work for you? Let me see here. Which invites you to co-host with one other creator. Okay, we got some people here. Well, they were trying to. People were trying to join in. Right now, and I appreciate the people that are trying to chime in and want to do the co-host thing. Because I don't go live often, sometimes the thing pops up and people ask me questions, and I'm still learning how to operate this and what that's getting into. But I will do the co-host thing, just not right now. Not right now. Maybe next Saturday I'll co-host with someone, but it is mainly because I am focused on just getting comfortable with the live and what people are asking. And I don't want to wrap up into a conversation where, it's just things go into a direction. Okay. But yes, about water, trying to learn. Thank you. Knowledge. Yes. Good day. Good day to you too, sir or ma'am. We ain't always learning. That's right. Always learning. All right, folks, watch the language a little bit on here. People dropping some little profanity. You got to be careful with the profanity, I'm telling you, because you end up getting banned, and not necessarily by me. It's the platform, because people don't know this, but TikTok and other platforms, they have their artificial intelligence in the background reading through the words that you put up, and certain words trigger, it puts you on a radar. And then what ends up happening is that you'll say that you got shadow banned for something, right? And you won't realize that you've been shadow banned because it's keeping this grocery list of your behavior on that platform, and you've been going in a certain direction. So now they put you in this thing, but next thing you know, you locked out of your account, and you think, oh, how did that happen? Well, it's because maybe when you've gone on to other people's platforms or pages or something like that, some of the things that you said were just inflammatory words. Like somebody just, the sugar honey iced tea, they put that up there. We got to be careful. I'm not saying that you're right or wrong or anything like that, but just be careful because it's little words like that. These platforms, they're keeping an account of all of our interactions on these, on here. And what you talk about and what you say and depending all of that stuff, it starts adding up. I do not necessarily count up all of those things, but I've seen other creators, because as I was learning how to manipulate and how to get around and understand this thing, some of the other creators say that there's like a point system that they have, that they're always tallying these things. So just, be cautious. I like what you say. I appreciate that. Shawnee, I appreciate you. Knowledge is infinitely expanding. Yes, indeed, Dan, for sure. Absolutely. Hey, also, I want to say this too. If you are consuming my content or anyone else's and it's supporting you, share the content with other people. Some of us gatekeep, and we all do it on some level. Me too, right? You receive something that's so good, but you don't want anybody else. Like, I got to keep this to myself, because I want the advantage of it. It's kind of like AI. Like, if we're all honest, right? In the AI world, we've all been using it and learning things. And as a result, we kind of gatekeep. We keep it to ourselves. We don't tell anybody else, but share these things with people, because here's the deal, right? What you promote and what you share improves the people around you, the people you interact with. So if they are better, by default, they're going to make you better. And in making you better, even though you might not, if you're in quiet competition with people, people want to be number one. But if you let go of that competition thing and just make the people around you better, just think about that for a second. You take time out to enhance the people around you that you interact with regularly. Just think, what is your life going to be like if the people you surround yourself with are better because of you? That means that your life is going to exponentially improve, because when those people get back to you, they're going to bring back to you the energy of what you had an impact on with them. So your life will improve tenfold just by improving the people around you. So share the information. Don't gatekeep. Yes, but only a small amount of people are ready and understand quantum. That is true. So what you do is, that's a fact. Even the word quantum, there are a lot of people out there who absolutely have zero idea what you're talking about, right? So don't use the word quantum. Being an educator, one of the responsibilities is taking information that may appear as, just too, I don't want to use the word esoteric, but it's just out there, right? There's people, they don't know. And if you tell them that word, they won't understand. You can translate what you learn and make it consumable for the people that you're talking to. You can totally do that, and that's really what's happening anyway, because you're going to put it in your own words and then you share it with someone else, and we all, someone else is going to receive it. Is a telephone game, but hopefully in a positive way. Most times when people talk about the telephone game, they talk about it in a negative way and how information changes, that it goes from one person to the next. That's true, but sometimes information also improves. And we see that with technology. Technology comes out and it's always improving, getting a little better and a little bit better and a little bit better. It's the same thing with information. It too can get a little bit better. Like, you might hear something that I say, and then you process it, apply it to your life, and then you find an even better use of what I'm saying to you. It's the reason why, and I'm not, into this, but greater works. That's that whole idea. If you understand where I'm coming from, when greater works you will do, it's because it's the nature of life. It's always improving, always improving. So you should learn and then be able to improve upon what you learn. I hardly understand it. LOL, learning. That's okay. Take your time with it. That's exactly why I've been aiming people at my book, The Art of Self-Mastery, because I wrote it. Is a very easy read and it's small, because a lot of people nowadays, we just don't have the bandwidth for books that are like 200 pages. Some people don't have the bandwidth for books that are 100 pages. So I kept it real small. People want to hear the information and keep it moving. Like, don't tie me up in thought, right? So it'll help. And this is a process, right? Don't think, Mina, that because you don't understand it, that it means, I'm not going to. You continue learning, keep learning. I'm still learning. We all are learning, As you get older every day and experience life, you get a different look on it, and a different view, and it means something different to you. So keep on learning. Keep on learning. We all are. Be cautious of the people that know everything. The person that says they know everything, just be cautious about that. So who are you? Turned on in Tron. I don't understand let me see. So who are you? Turned is on a Tron. I don't really know what you're asking here. Building each other is kind of the point. Yes, it is, for sure. Sorry, I have seen your face or heard before. Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. Censorship. Yeah. All right. Well, I have been on here. I think I've been on here. I don't know. Probably like almost maybe 2 hours, something like that. I am going to sign off. Appreciate the rose. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Scrawny. I will be back on next week, Saturday at 7 o'clock. I'll promote it during the week so that you all know and let people know to log in and support. For those that are interested in supporting me financially, you can do it at $Coach Rahien on Cash App. Love that. Those people who have been sending me stuff, I deeply appreciate it. Believe it or not, we all have to do a better job of supporting the things that mean something to us. If it doesn't mean anything to you, then don't support it. But if it does mean something to you, support it, because the world that you see out there is a representation of what you have been supporting or not supporting, okay? But thank you so much. I appreciate it, and stay tuned. Right now, I have a series going that I'm on TikTok with on time management. If that's something that is going to help you, or someone who needs support with time management, go ahead and chime in, share the videos. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I am out.